Guys, I worked out the ultimate cheat code. I recorded this earlier, but there was wind noise. I was out on a bike ride. So the final conclusion is this, for me anyway. The system, the government, the people that are running this system, this controlled grid system that we live in, I don't think they're human, but let's say they're human or whatever they are, yeah? I don't know what they are, so let's just use the blanket terms, the government, the system, the machine, whatever it is, right? That's created the system that we live in, regulates it, etc., etc., etc. We're all well aware of this at this point. If we are not, then go and watch my videos. Watch the one about one world governments and stuff. Just watch, just watch that and pay attention to some of the stuff that's going on around you. Use the thing that happened a few years ago as a reference point. You know, people that have, use as a reference point how one, set of rules for something was basically put in place across the entire world in 2 weeks or whatever it was. So obviously someone's got that thing, whether it's hiding behind the WHO, UN, the United States, wherever that thing is, that central point of that thing is, it has a lot of sway over countries globally, and they all kind of they're all interlinked and blah, blah, blah. We know this stuff. Anyway, I don't want to get away from my point. The point is that thing wants us to exterminate ourselves. The system wants us to kill ourselves. It basically wants us extinct, but it wants us to do it to ourselves because it can't do it to us. Why do I say this? Let me break it down. So if you look at the last few years, right? What's happened in the last few years? Censorship. We can't talk about certain things. That's one of the biggest things that's happened, right? Censorship and propaganda. So over the last 2 years, you can't tell me there's anything that's happened that is bigger than these two things. No war, no conflict, no flashpoint. Nothing has been bigger than the amount of propaganda and censorship that's happened over the last, let's call it 5 years, just so for accuracy. So, for example, the thing that happened a few years ago, you all know how it happened, right? Look at the propaganda around it, right? How it was pushed, how people were scared out of their minds based on something they just the propaganda on the screen. Whilst this was happening, there's also massive censorship, because after that they were like, right, you can't even, the reason why I can't even talk about a thing is because it took down my previous channel because I spoke about that thing. That's crazy, right? This is 2023. We're supposedly living in the future of progressiveness and shit like this, but you can't even say certain things. You can't even talk about certain things. Freedom of speech is dead, right? So anyway, with censorship and propaganda, when they put that in place, let's look at the propaganda. Not only in terms of gay rights and the transsexuals thing and the whatever else, right? They were pushing this stuff in schools, some without our permission. Kids were being taught certain things, and there's this massive push on a government level, right? So the same government that's talking about what do you call it, a contraction in GDP, and the fact that the cost of living, and which is also a lie anyway, but the fact that you're talking about that, and that's the reference point, they're still pumping money into indoctrinating your kids and using propaganda on them to twist their minds about morality and making things that are sexually abnormal or historically abnormal to us normal. Yeah. And I know everybody will talk about the slavery thing. Oh yeah, but slavery once was da, 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 da. Bro, it's not the same thing. Yeah. Let's put slavery to one side and look at the sexualization of kids, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. And I'm going to go to the actual main point of what I'm talking about today, which is the system wants us extinct, right? So if we're sexualizing kids, right? Kids that they don't even know basic survival skills. They can't cook, they can't clean, they can't even look after themselves, right? We're poisoning their minds, okay? We're poisoning the minds of children. That's the base. That's the bottom line. Yeah, slavery is an economic thing. It's commercial. Yeah, if it did happen, I don't believe it happened the way they said it did. It's a lie. If you spend any reasonable amount of time reading about what happened, how it happened, the logistics of it, you realize that the story that you've been told is not real. There are black people everywhere, dark-skinned people everywhere, right? There are dark-skinned people in America. If you believe that Africans were taken there, we're different. We're different. We are different. Even between ourselves, we know we're different. You know, and when I say we're different, I don't mean it in terms of like, yeah, I'm African, you're American. No, we're all one. We're one race. We're just one group of people in the whole world. Yeah, some of us look different, some of us sound different, but we're just one people. We all shit. We all poop. We all pee. All the females have periods. We're all fucking. If we're when we're naked and when we're bleeding and shit like that, we're the same. We all smell. We all have our human things. Okay, it doesn't matter what you are. We are one collective thing as a race. That's it. Let's forget about the powdery stuff on top. At the base level, we're the same. Now, taking people from their country for economic purposes is not the same as poisoning the minds of children. It's not the same. There's no comparison. Like, it's similar to taking a prisoner of war. It's similar to going to war for economic reasons. It doesn't poison the minds of the kids. The kids are still ring fenced outside of it. There are like conventions where we're not allowed to, when even during warfare they have the imagine this, like during war they have rules. It's a boxing match, because if it's raw primal, there's no rules. If I kill you, I kill you. If you kill me, you kill me. That's how it goes, right? But yo, you can't do this, you can't fight on Sundays, you can't do this, you can't do that. Let the women and children pass, let the medical professionals pass. That's not a real war. A real war, all everything goes. But anyway, put that to one side. The actual point is, it doesn't poison the minds of the kids. Poison the minds of the kids in a commercial activity, regardless of how unethical it is, it's not the same. Now, so with the censorship and the propaganda, they've been talking about the trans thing and blah blah blah, and it's everywhere, and you know they're literally ramming it down our throats, right? You can't go on social media and not see a story about this. You can't go to the news and not hear some ridiculous story about this, sort of like sexual this, transsexual that, gay this. It's always the same kind of like sexually perverted things that they're talking about. I say perverted, I say sexually abnormal things they keep talking about, right? And I remember someone once told me this, like we were having a discussion. It was one of the most profound realizations. She was talking about how the gay thing, right? And she said, she was like, well, but if everybody's gay, like, you know, no one's gonna have kids and then we're all dead. Like the race will end. And I remember when she said that, it really hit me, and I thought, wow, what a profound realization. And then you bring it back to this, right? The propaganda, the giving the propaganda to the kids, sexualizing them. You know, let's have all these genders, and then, you know, men, women, but then they're like a man on some days, a woman some days, and all this weird stuff, right? And then you're this and you're that and you're this. But even sidebar, the fact that these gender people can tell me what I am, like, oh, you're not a man, you're a this man. Like, bro, you're labeling me, but I can't label you. You see, do you see how it works? It's a form of authoritarianism, guys. It's a form of dictatorship. What this is happening, this neoliberal thing that's happening is it's worse than actually having like police and the military on the streets and fucking. I'm telling you, it's worse than that. Believe me, because what happens is, it's not as direct as, oh yeah, you know, there's a curfew or the police on the streets, blah blah, you can't say this, you can't say that. During Hitler's time, right, people couldn't say certain things, people couldn't talk about Hitler. Do you remember? In the same way, like, they'll say those people got taken out and shot or whatever it is, right? Or taken to the gulags, or the internment camps to go and work, or they became prisoners or whatever it is. Bro, go to your place of work, right, and say that you don't believe in this gender stuff, and say that you stand on the side of tradition and blah blah blah. You will get fucking sacked, bro. And they can call the police on you because someone can say they're offended. How is that any different, bruv? That's a sidebar. Let's come back to the original point. So the original point is, once you look at, if we go down this road of all these multiple genders, blah 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 blah, we'll get to a point where the race just implodes. We implode on ourselves. We reach a point of, like, we can't reproduce, and that's the end of us, right? So that's one aspect. Because if everybody's a transsexual and everybody's sexually this and that, and then all this gay stuff and lesbian stuff's all happening all the time, right? And it gets normalized, and they push it on children that haven't even hit puberty yet, like children that are going through puberty, children with mental illness, and like people that are going through stuff, and you're pushing them these ideologies that they may be a man, or they may be a woman, and then these people latch onto this sort of stuff, right? And they run with it, right? When we could have approached it from a different way. Like if you're saying that person, yeah, that's what it is, that's the reason why they're feeling depressed or whatever. One example, just one example. Like, have we exhausted every possible avenue before sex? Because once they say they're gender this or gender that, believe me, bro, a lot of these people are still suffering, and they're still having the same issues. It hasn't gone away. Go and look up the stats of the amount of people that try and transition back, the amount of people that have regrets. There's someone trying to sue someone in America, some girl that went through some sexual thing, cut her boobs up and stuff, and she's trying to like sue the hospital or something, like she was forced or she was kind of like coerced in a way. She's suing them. The issues don't go away. Do you understand? These people are still wrestling with the same things. People commit suicide. People that suffering with that woman, Nora, whatever it is, the lesbian woman that went undercover as a man, that came out. She was like, nah, this is not the one, and she committed suicide recently, right? Like, it's not easy. Like, it's a crazy idea that you're shoving onto people, especially young people, right? It's crazy, but the end line of it is non-reproduction. Now, let me go back to the second point of this. I know this is a little bit all over the place, so slow it down if you have to, but I'm just trying to give you the full kind of like take on how they want us to be extinct. So we've established the fact that the homosexual, trans thing, right? If we follow down that route, it doesn't really add to the reproductive numbers of humanity. Cool. Now we come to the second point, climate change. Oh, we're using too many fossil fuels. Oh, the cows, when they have a shit on the fucking fields or they have a fart on the fields, is contributing to global warming. Bruv, like, cows have been here since when? What the fuck are you talking about, my nigga? Like, it's so stupid. It's actually, like, people actually believe this stuff. Like, people talk about this stuff like it's real. Like, what the fuck, bro? Oh, don't eat meat. It's bad for you. Let's not do this. Let's not eat anymore. Let's all drive electric cars. Let's not even have kids. It's too expensive on the world. It's bad for the world. Let's not drive petrol engines. It's really bad for the world. Bro, it's business. Right? Every time they change these things or they move to electric, somebody's benefiting because the running because it's all business, all money to them, and money is stored value of energy. We've established this, right? So it's an energetic game that they are always absorbing energy from us, right? So think about money. Think of money as energy. It always wants to absorb your energy, but it wants to end the game or bring us to such a critically low number as humanity that it would just be like, nah, like it would just be, I can't even imagine the kind of world we'll be in. But anyway, you come to climate change and it's like, oh, the world is this, the world is that. We're destroying the world. Let's not have kids. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. Now imagine people don't have kids, and we all don't eat meat. So and not even eat meat, because it's a different type of thing. But sorry, I'm just lighting some incense. It's a different kind of thing. But let's say the electric cars, we've established as all business, but everything is, oh, let's protect the environment. Let's protect the environment because the world, overpopulation, food crisis. We need to eat like bugs, and if you don't believe me, look it up. This is all real. Like, it's not lies. Klaus Schwab. Go and look up the World Economic Forum and the kind of foods that they're advocating that we should have. Go and read it up, bro. I'm not joking. I know what I'm talking about. So you establish that fact, and it's like, okay, so everything, the bottom line of climate change is we are too many, we're consuming too much, we need to contract the race. That's the bottom line of the whole climate change agenda, right? From an executive high level kind of perspective. That also leads to the extinction of the human race. Do you get it? Do you get it? Let it sink in. Now, you move from that, then what else do you come to? The censorship. You can't say this, you can't say that. The war between men and women, blah blah blah. The war between men and women is happening right now, whether you want to admit it or not. It's happening. Yeah. So, yeah, the war between men and women is happening. So, oh yeah, your women, oh, your career is more important, you're independent, you don't need a man, blah blah blah, don't have kids, you know, the traditional system's not the right one, blah blah blah, fuck all that. The men, oh yeah, women are this, women are that, women are this. Just go become a passport bro, go somewhere else and go spend your money, don't have kids, like it's just too much stress, the family calls will ruin you, it's not worth it, don't get married, divorce, and all this other stuff, right? This is all corruption of traditional values, which leads to the destruction of the family, destruction of the nuclear family unit, right? When that happens, there aren't going to be, the reproductive numbers are going to reduce. And if men and women actually don't like each other and they're being slowly prized apart from a pair into singles, right? What do you think is going to happen? What's the end result of that? It leads to the extinction of the human race. Do you get it? Now, if let's go to the technological advancements. You know, people don't read anymore. People don't pursue creative pursuits anymore. We're hooked to these devices. We're not thinking creatively anymore. We're tethered to these things, right? Like that's our whole world, right? Even though the internet is like, it's part of the machine. It just feeds you just information. Like a lot of the stuff that you're consuming, like, I bet you, like, you're interacting with bots and you don't even realize. Like the AI is so fucking good at the point where you could be reading a news story, look at a picture, a meme, or not a meme, like a picture, a news story, and it's all completely fabricated. It's fake. After all, how are you going to verify? You go on where Google, where it has a personalized algorithm for you. So how could you even know that what you're consuming with your own eyes and ears is even real? Do you understand? You live in a bubble, bro. Like you live in a pod in a simulation, bro. Like I can't stress this enough. Like I'm just giving you the codes. Like this is real shit. So your whole existence is atomized, right? Now, even with that, with people not being creative, people are not socializing anymore, people are not talking as much, people are not going out as much, people are not, the way humans interact is different now. Everything's technological, it's cold, you know. Like people are only knowing people through the technology. There's people that will have great conversations on text and videos and they in each other's company. It's like, nah. Do you understand? So energy, there's so much energy mismatches here and shit like this. What does this all lead to, bro? If people are not thinking creatively, they're atomized. Everything's, you know, computerized. You know, less emphasis on, you know, stay at home, just be in your bubble, separate from each other. People are not connecting. People are separate. It leads to the extinction of the race, because if something was to happen, you couldn't even pull together people to even defend it. Do you get it? They want to end the game. And the maddest thing is this: all the things you're saying would end the game if we're basically saying that if at the base level, because I'm very good at this kind of stuff, like delving down to the nuts and bolts of it. At the very base level, what's the whole point? The very base level says what? That if we live how we've always lived up until this point, it's going to end the human race. It's going to be the end of us. It will be too destructive. It'll be destructive to the planet, and the planet will end up destroying us. The weather will be crazy, even though they manipulate the weather, and it's fact. Okay, they seed clouds in Dubai, so don't look at me like it's weird. They can make weather. Look it up yourself. So anyway, they're telling us that it will cause weather disruption, and then, you know, we'll all die. There will be no food. The shelves will be empty and shit like that. Okay, if the shelves are empty, why can't we grow our own food? Like what happened to the land? If the shelves are empty, all right, cool. Then let's all become arable farmers. We'll find a way. We'll go back to the traditional ways of doing things. But no, see, it's like they're telling us that everything that we have done to bring us this far in the game in life, right, is wrong. So therefore, they're taking us this massive sharp turn, right? And that's the way to the promised land. Even though every single thing that we've seen so far by turning on this left turn, this sharp left turn, leads to the extinction of the race. Like even abortion clinics. You know, look at how they push for abortions to be even extended to like 9 months in the States. Like they want children dead. Do you understand? Like, do you get it? Like they're funding gay and trans and whatever movements, right? But they're not funding like single mothers. Why are they not setting up institutions to help single mothers? But then they will spend money helping people transition and people to like the Tavistock Centre and stuff in the UK. That was like it set up things through the NHS, which makes you know that's all government approved, to basically convince people to come and get like to talk about this trans thing and for them to want to transition and all this other stuff. It's all real and people are suing them right now in the UK. It's the same in America. So they want to fund abortion clinics. There's abortion clinics everywhere, especially low income neighborhoods where generally people actually have more children, right? So it's like, nah, let's get rid of these kids, because the middle class and the other groups, right? They've already taken the Kool-Aid. They're not gonna have multiple kids. They barely got any time. They're always in the office. They're working every hour under the sun. They're not living fulfilled lives. So they've taken the Kool-Aid and they're like, yeah, oh yeah, 2 kids is optimum. The world is being destroyed anyway. Ha ha ha. Oof, gosh. But then at the same time, he is living a very strange existence. But the people that are actually having children, the children are being like the families are being broken down due to some of the welfare tactics in the family courts and stuff like that. But at the same time, whilst they're doing that, they're also funding abortion clinics and getting rid of like life, and they're saying that that's the right thing. Like they fund protests and stuff, you know, pro-life and pro this, and this big Supreme Court cases. Like, who's even entertaining this? Who's bankrolling this? These are the questions that people need to ask, because it ultimately leads to the extinction of the race, of all of us. Right? Like look at the places in the world where people live very kind of like robotic kind of existences and stuff. Look, Japan, declining birth rate. Nobody's having children, but they live this atomized life, right? Homework, I work every hour in the sun. I don't question authority. And they're not having children. So what's going to happen to Japan then? Look at the people. Any group of people that have bought this Kool-Aid are not having children. They've bought this belief and they think that that's the way forward. They've bought this belief, even though that their forefathers and their fathers before them and they came down this road to get them there in the first place. Like, come on. It only leads to extinction. Anyway, I've spoken too